One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. On July 20th, 1969, humans set foot on the moon for the first time. In total, 12 American astronauts explored the lunar surface. But even today, some people still ask, did it really happen? Could the entire Apollo moon landing have been an elaborate hoax staged right here on Earth? This debate has been swirling for decades. It all started with a book in 1976 that claimed the whole thing was fake. The author pointed to things like the missing stars in photos, the lack of dust clouds when the lander touched down, and the seemingly impossible task of operating equipment in the moon's extreme temperatures. While many of these specific claims have been thoroughly debunked over the years, today we are going to focus on some of the bigger, more logical questions. Was the technology back then really good enough? And how did the astronauts survive the journey through the dangerous Van Allen radiation belts? Let's talk tech. The Apollo spacecraft carried a guidance computer with just a few kilobytes of memory. That's lovely tiny compared to the smartphone in your pocket, but it was powerful enough for navigation and landing. Remember, the Soviet Union had already landed and manned probes on the moon a full decade earlier, proving that getting there was possible. The real challenge wasn't just getting to the moon, it was bringing a human crew safely back to Earth. So, why did the USA take on such a monumental risk? The answer is simple: the Cold War. At the time, America was losing the space race. The Soviets had launched the first satellite that sent the first human into orbit and even sent the first woman into space. The United States was desperate for a major win, a milestone that would put them ahead. So they set their sights on the biggest prize of all, the moon. But you don't have to take America's word for it. Independent evidence from around the world supports the landings. In 2008, Japan's JAXA spacecraft scanned the Apollo landing sites and created detailed 3D maps. Later, both India and China independently confirmed these findings with their own lunar orbiters. Back in 1968 and 69, amateur astronomers with powerful radios were able to track the Apollo signals in real time. Crucially, not a single competing nation, including the Soviet Union, ever claimed the landings were fake. If anyone had proof it was a hoax, it would have been them, and the evidence keeps coming. NASA continues to monitor the moon with high-resolution satellites. The images are so clear, so you can see the astronauts' footprints, the tracks from the lunar rover, and the equipment they left behind. Special reflectors placed on the surface by the Apollo crews are still used by scientists today to precisely measure the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Plus, over 380 kilograms of lunar rocks were brought back and have been studied by scientists worldwide. Some of these rocks are older than any found on Earth, providing solid proof they came from the Moon. Now, what about these deadly Van Allen belts? The astronauts passed through the thinner regions of the belts and they did it quickly. They also timed their journey to coincide with periods of low solar activity. The total radiation dose they received was less than what a worker at a nuclear power plant might get in a year. Even Dr. Van Allen himself, the man who discovered the belts, dismissed the claims that it was possible to pass through them safely. So why haven't we back since 1972? Because the Cold War ended without the intense political race to motivate such incredibly expensive missions. The funding and the public interest dried up. But now a new lunar race is heating up, this time between the USA and China. China landed a rover on the far side of the moon in 2019 and plans to send humans there by 2029. In response, NASA has announced its Artemis program aiming to return astronauts to the lunar surface and establish a permanent base. And it's not just governments anymore. Private companies like SpaceX are joining the race, with plans for civilian trips around the moon even before NASA's next crewed mission. So in the end, you have to decide what's more likely, that tens of thousands of scientists, engineers, and astronauts along with independent global space agencies have all kept a perfectly coordinated life for over 50 years, or that humanity really did walk on the moon. The evidence, scientific, technological, and independently verified, overwhelmingly supports that July 20th, 1969 truly was a giant leap for all mankind. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We will see you in the next one.